Hello people, welcome back to the fourth part. This is the final part. No face cam this time, so I'm sorry for anyone who was hoping to see my handsome face. You're gonna have to wait another time, I'm afraid. There was a few things I forgot in the last part. The first being, if you look here, I forgot to change this back to white, the texture. So we're going to change that quickly. You see, if I change this here, it also changes the pink. We don't want that, so we need to add a new material and we need to change that to white. So now let's change it individually. Perfect. Second thing I forgot to do is slightly more annoying because we're gonna have to do it twice now, whereas before we would have only had to do it once. We didn't we didn't weight paint the top to create this effect. This is slightly annoying, as I said. We're now going to have to do it twice, but that's fine. I'm going to speed through this. I'm going to speed this up just so you don't have to sit through and watch me do this. It's the exact same process as the eyes and the mouth, just for the top of the head. Yeah, so I'm going to speed through this and I'll be back in a second. So we're back, we've done that. That looks a little bit better. Another thing, I'm going to admit defeat on this one. I am not a big fan of the fur on the feet, so I think the better way to do that would be with geometry nodes. So yeah, I'm just going to admit defeat and we're just going to get rid of these because I'm not personally a fan. You might like it. It might work with if you're creating something different than me. But yeah, for this example, I don't think it's going to work too well, so I'm just going to admit defeat. I think it's still good to know how the fur works, but in that, I think, sometimes you got to put your hands up, and I'm doing it this time. It didn't look great, so that's that done. I think, I'm quite happy with that now. I should have noticed these things in the last part, but here we are. Now, what we're going to do is you'll actually notice these are really big marshmallows, because if we add a cube, that's a 2 meter tall cube, and if we go move it up, we've got 2 meter tall marshmallows, which isn't exactly what we want, so we want to shrink them slightly. To do that, because if we shrink this now quickly, if we make it super small, like that, and then we apply the all transformations. There's something horrible that's happened. Everything's gone weird. That we've ruined it. So we're going to come back. There we go. What we actually need to do first is we need to apply the actual fur. So if we come onto here and we just hit apply, Control A, and I'm going to skip through this as well because this takes a while. There we go. We've Control A'd everything, which just applies the modifier. So now these are all applied. We've got everything selected. If we now shrink it to about there, if we now apply the all transformations now, nothing weird happens. That's perfect. If we add a cube again, so 2 meters, they're still a little bit too big, but we're going to change that in a minute. So we go into front facing view, G, Z to bring the cube up. We are actually going to go into X-ray. There we go. We're going to go into X-ray, Alt Z, in the solid view. There we go. That's better. Let's move that over slightly, just so we can get the right sort of scale. So, yeah, these aren't that tall still. So we're gonna right. So if we move these over here, we want to make this point here, because if we try and rotate this now, it's doing it around this point. Right click, set origin, and then origin origin to geometry, we now have a object that we can rotate and we can scale, and it all works pretty well. There we go. So let's go back into that mode. Oh god, right, there we go. So small, I think that is about right. We can always scale it if we think it's not right, but that is about, 2 meters. That looks about right. While we have this cube here, I'm actually going to go into number pad 1 again, and I'm going to in the 3D cursor. So if I move this and try and make it roughly in the middle. Right, it's easier if we just start from the beginning. So if we Shift A and add a cube, we're going to make this 5 meters for a bedroom sort of size. But obviously 5 meters is far too tall for a bedroom, so we're going to shrink this down in the Z-axis a little bit to about there. We're not doing anything too precise, but that is about right, I'd say. This is just going to create the scene, so it doesn't need to be super detailed. I'm going to get rid of this as well, delete that, and I'm going to delete this as well. So if we go into this cube, and I'm going to go into edit mode, and 3 for face select that face. I'm going to G to move this in the y-axis and bring it out. I'm going to add a loop cut here. I'm going to move that along, and I'm going to select this face that we've just created and inset just like so. And then I'm also going to scale in the if we come out of this mode here and go into individual origins, and then we scale in the we have proportional editing on for some reason, scale in the Z-axis like that, maybe make it a little bit wider in the Y-axis, so that there, if we X and delete the face, that there is our little window. Now to demonstrate this window, I'm going to come into rendered mode, and we're going to shift. You can see the lights coming through here, but if we get a more drastic, if we bring the sun right around, there we go, and bring the intensity up a little bit, that's what we're looking for, there we go. So we're getting this dramatic sort of look, and if we bring the sun down slightly, you can bring it up, maybe move it. There you go, that looks not too shabby. So, for my girlfriend's bedside table, come out of edit mode, I'm going to add a plane. Let's come out of this rendered mode as well. We're going to move it along in the y-axis, because my girlfriend, she has like a shelf next to her bed, which is her bedside table, so we're going to recreate a shelf like with this plane. So if we bring this up as well, what I'm actually going to do now, just to make our lives a little bit easier, is come into edit mode, select the cube, go into edit mode, and I'm going to delete this face just for the time being, just so we can sort of work in. So if we go into 3 for side view, and then 9 to get the opposite side, you see we're working with this. So I am going to come out of edit mode now and select this. G and X, move it in the X-axis, and this is far too big for a bedside table, so I'm going to scale it down. And if we go into 3 again and 9, we can move it right against the wall, just like that. There we go. I'm going to move it, actually we'll leave there for the time being, I think that'll be okay. Maybe scale in the Y-axis again, and then make sure it's moved up against the wall. There we go. Another thing we need to do is grab our marshmallows. So if we go in, there we go. So grab that and grab this, and then drag them in the Y-axis. Make sure we've got everything selected there. Do we have the... we don't. That is what I was thinking might have happened. So we haven't parented this part. So I need to shift select that, and then so shift select that. And it might be easier to do this actually if we get pink mellow, and then control select pink mellow, then right click, parent. There we go, so that's now parented. Now the white mellow also isn't parented, so we're going to select this here, and then we're going to control click the marshmallow, right click, bam, there we go. So now if we just move the pink mellow, just select the pink mallow. It's all connected. So now, if we come into 3 and then 9, so the side view, G, we can move the marshmallow about. And then G in the x-axis, like that. And we got something like that. Ooh, yeah, maybe like that. Bring it up so that's that on there. Just like so. That's perfect. Let's straighten up a little bit. There we go. I'm going to get rid of this side as well. So if we right click, join areas, there we go. So we get a bit more of a view. Right, so before we do anything else, we're just going to add a camera in so we can sort of look at the scene while we're adding things in. So if we go Shift A, camera. So the camera's now in the scene, but you see it's all the way over. You see it's just been put down there. Now we don't want that. We want it to be looking here. So if we press Control Alt 0, automatically it just snaps the camera to your view. So now if you press 0, you get the camera's view. Now that's pretty handy. We like that. So now we're back. Yeah. So we've added the camera. Let's add to the scene. So. This plane, no shelf. Let's move these up a little bit. Oh. No, there we go. So no shelf is that thin. That is, you know, that's pretty thin. So we need to add some thickness to that. So we're going to add a modifier. And we're going to add the solidify modifier. So you see it's already added a very little bit there. We're going to add a bit more to... maybe about that. That's not too bad. We're going to do that, and straight away I'm just going to apply it. Just make our lives a little bit easier. And I'm actually going to bring these to the edge of the shelf, just like so. They're hovering a little bit, so I'm going to bring them down. Maybe if we go into 3 and 9, maybe rotate them slightly. And then maybe I'll select each leg individually, shift clicking them, and I might rotate them down slightly, move them down very slightly like that. Camera view, there we go. Sort of looks like they're hanging over the edge, they're dangling over a little bit, look. So we like that, so we can go into 0 and then look at the rendered view. There we go, look at that. The sun is very harsh, we can correct that later, but that's the basis of what we're going to do. Now, what I actually want to do first is I want to make this shelf a little bit bigger. So I'm going to move these guys forward slightly, and I'm going to scale that a little bit more, just so they look a bit too dominant on the shelf. And I want to add a few little things so they're still the center of view, but they're not the only things on the shelf. That looks a little bit better, I think, if we go into rendered view. They sort of fit into the shelf a little bit more. So, you might have noticed I've added a plant. I've not made this myself. This is a Polygon add-on. This is one of the free models that they have, so you can go get this yourself if you want. But I'm just using it to fill out the scene a little bit. Now, with both of this in the camera view, I can sort of better position the camera. So if we press Shift and apostrophe, I think it's called, we can use WASD on the keyboard to move things around. You can use the mouse to look around, and Q and E to adjust more. So I'm going to come out of that, go into this view. There we go. So let's do that again. So we're going to go. I want these two marshmallows to be the center of attention. Also, if you scroll down, it will slow the movements, and if you scroll up, it will speed it up. So I'm going to bring it down just so I can have more control. Now I want the marshmallows to be the center of attention, and everything else to sort of just be accompanying the scene. So I'm going to move them into maybe like that. Maybe like that, and I'm actually going to move these over slightly. Oh, wrong one. Move these over slightly, like that. Maybe move this over a little bit. Oh, make sure I got it all selected. Move that over a little bit, like that. So what I've done here, it's still not perfect, but I've sort of smidged in the room a little, cube that we made a little bit, so you see it was out here first. I've sort of moved it in. And I've adjusted the elevation, the rotation slightly, just to get closer to what I want. I'm also going to quickly go into this here, which is the render properties, right down to the bottom, color management. I'm going to adjust the exposure slightly. So if you hold control when you do it, it brings it to a whole number. So I'm gonna, about -2 looks good for me. Go into this camera view again. Right, so now we've done that. I actually want this to separate the wall from the shelf. I want to make this back wall a grey colour. So hi, Josh from the future here. I was editing part 4, and for some reason a chunk of the footage has gone missing. I can't seem to find it. It might be somewhere in my files, but I don't know where it could be. So for this part, I'm just going to quickly go through the things that have been missed, so when I cut back to the footage that I do have, there's no confusion. The first thing I was doing is, if we delete all this. So we have a cube in our scene, come into 1, bring it up in the Z-axis, make sure we're 3D cursor, size it up. Now let's pretend this is the bedroom that we have going on. If we want to change just one wall, when we go into, make sure I've got the right settings. Right, so if we want to change just the colour of one wall, if we do that here, if we go into this mode, face select and select one face, even if we just select that one face, the whole cube is going to be chosen, and we don't want that. So with that material, so let's delete that material quickly. Right, so we'll apply a material, and the material is white. I want to change just one face. So if we go into edit mode now, when we already have a material applied to the object, if we select one face and then here add a new material and assign this face to that material, and now if we change this, just the one face should be affected. Now if I rotate, you might be able to better see this. There we go, that's better see that now. So we have a white cube and the one face is darker. So that's the first thing that we needed to sort out. Another thing, I added a mushroom lamp. Let me get it up. Right, so I added this mushroom lamp to the scene, but I needed to make that first. So I'll quickly show you how to make that. So if we delete this, delete the cube, and we'll add another cube. I'm actually going to turn this off so we can see a bit better. Yeah, that'll be fine. Side view. So we again bring this up. Now, a lot of this is you're just playing with it just until you get in the shape you want. This is quite an easy shape to get to. So if we add a subdivision, maybe bring it up there like that. Shade smooth. So if we go into edit mode, vertices select, and add a loop cut, bring this down. This is getting the base sort of shape that we want. Another thing I want to do is add a loop cut here, like that. Maybe bring this in slightly. So make sure we have all of the top vertices selected. Bring it down slightly, like that. Right, so after I've done that, I'm going to select this face and I'm going to extrude upwards. And then I'm going to select these outer faces here, and we're going to scale up, but obviously we don't want it looking like that because that is nothing like a mushroom. So then we're going to bring, grab and bring it down like that. You can sort of see we're getting this, we're closer to a marshmallow, a mushroom than we were a minute ago. I'm going to add another loop cut here and drag this in. There we go, it's looking a bit better. Maybe add another loop cut and drag this out slightly. Like I was saying, a lot of this is you're just playing with it until you get the sort of shape that you want. I'm going to grab those top 4 vertices, I'm going to bring them down. Maybe grab them and bring them up slightly. And you see, we're sort of getting that shape that we like. That isn't too bad.
maybe... No, I'm quite happy with that. That's similar to the one we've got in our view. Let me see what it looks like on here. There we go. Look, pretty similar looking. So that's how we get the mushroom. I applied a slightly yellowy white colour. Maybe we can go back into this view now. So I added this slight yellow, so it's just a bit different to the shelf colour, and I brought up the roughness slightly just to add some detail. It's not a complex material, obviously, but that's how I did it in my scene. And then coming into where I have the footage back, so I'll pass you back to past Josh in a minute. I started making a candle. So let's go into this mode. How I did that was I subdivided again. Nope, that's not what we want to do. I added a subdivision like this. Went into edit mode, added a loop cut to bring this down, a loop cut, and brought this up. I grabbed this face here and I inset it just to get rid of any of the shading issues. I did the same with this. I inset, but then I extruded downwards to get the inside of the candle. What else did I do? I added a loop cut here, like that. If we come out of here, we can add a loop cut here, and then also grab this face and inset there to stop any shading issues. So if we come out of there and we shade smooth, that's the base candle. You know, different types of candles. This is just the one that I've got. And then I added a load of loop cuts around here. Now I did that so I could, and I believe I added a loop cut there, and a loop cut here. So then I could go into the face select and make, actually I didn't have that many loop cuts. I had 4 loop cuts, I think. Yep, and that one there, and that one there. So then I can very basic shape to a candle, and I extruded inwards like that. So that's the shape, and I'm basically going to go recreate that around the whole shape, and we'll go back because I believe that is where we have caught up in a minute. Or well, actually us in 2 seconds. Bye. Right, so now we have this inset here. I want to speed up the process by selecting more than one at once, so we're not wasting too much time. But the issue there is if I quickly select all these, give me a second. Right, so we have them all selected. Now if we want to extrude them inwards all at the same time, see they're not moving all inwards, they're moving all in one direction, which isn't what we want. So if we come up here and select individual origins and try the same again, there we go. It looks confusing, but that's done exactly what we want it to do, just like that. So now, rather than perfecting the whole model, we're only going to see it from one side, which is from the camera's point of view. So we want to maybe just work on this here, this part here, and then these little divots just around it I'm going to see from the camera, because there's no point doing the parts that I'm not going to see. So I'm just going to work on these here by adding loop cuts and just bring them back slightly. Done that one there. Do these 2 here, I think. This one here, and I reckon just these 2 as well, like that. And I think that's okay. So if we come out of the isolated mode, into rendered view, Now that's not looking too bad. Now the only problem is we can't see the candle wax on the inside of the candle. So if we come back to isolated mode and into, let's come out of this mode as well. Come into the edit mode. Make sure you've got face select, and we're going to alt select this here, shift select this here, and then shift alt the here. And actually we'll also, if we come out of there, we'll also want to shift select that there. So what we want to do now is we want to G to move, and then up in the Z axis, bring it up to about there, maybe going from the camera. That looks about right. Now we've got that done. Let's add a loop cut here as well, actually. There we go, that's a bit better. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, that's why. Yeah, that looks, that isn't, yeah, we don't like that. Let's go there. So that's looking way better now. Let's add come into the rendered view. Let's add a texture, make it slightly off. There we go, that looks good. And I want the wax to be purple, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and select these faces again. Not all of the, make sure we've got face select. Not all of the faces. I'm just going to select these here, and I'm going to add a new material by there. I'm going to press assign, and I'm going to choose a pinky red sort of colour, like that. Just like that. Come out of that mode. See it from the camera, looking good, but we haven't got a candle wick, so let's add that as well. Come into the side view, add a cylinder, move it over, way too big, so we'll do that. Maybe bring it up in that axis there, go from the camera mode, move it over in the X, and again scale it down. There we go. Like that, I reckon. Let me bring it up slightly. Oh, there we go. It's not looking too bad, I don't think. Come into this mode. There we go. Maybe bring it down a little bit, and then that's not looking too bad. So what you'll notice in my render that we're referencing, I also added the bedside here. So we're going to do that now. Oh, there we go. Right, so not too hard to do, pretty quick. Just add a cube. Oh, what's going on? No. Okay. Being very slow apparently. There we go, that's better. Now it's just a headboard, so if we shrink it in the y-axis, like that, and move it mostly up to the wall, not entirely, maybe just like that, bring it in a little bit more, like that. See what it looks like from there. Now maybe we bring it back a little bit, bring it over a little bit. Now I don't think that's looking too bad. Let's adjust the sun slightly. Okay, bring that like that. Now we maybe shrink it to the way in. Bring it down slightly. I don't think that's too bad. I think that's pretty good. One thing I have noticed from this view though is that the eyes here are not quite as visible as I like them to be, so I'm going to rotate them in the x-axis slightly so I can better see the what we're working with. Maybe I'll do it a little bit more, and then I'm going to select, let's go into this mode, I'm going to select, no we don't want that, we want to select just the legs like that, and I'm going to rotate them down again. No, we don't want that selected. There we go. Rotate them down again, like that, and I think that's a bit better. There we go.
And I think if we press F12, we can get into the render and see how it's doing. I think, you know what, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Oh, stretch. Oh. So, so that's that done. You know, you can see what I might do now quickly is change the colour, because I notice I don't really like that pink. Maybe I'll bring it a little bit lighter pink. F12. So yeah, I think I'll be pretty happy with that. So yeah, you can see the two renders look slightly different. The actual models look slightly different. You can work on put more time into what you want to put more time into, whether you want the model to be a bit more crisp, or you know, if you want the props to be a bit different, or you know, all of this stuff. You can sort of work on that and mold it how you want it to be molded, and you know, work on different things. Actually, noticing one thing now that I do want to change is maybe if we do bring that out in the Y, maybe let me just see what I got going on here. Yeah, so I reckon if that's maybe what we could do here is if we go into that mode, the edit mode, select here. Now, see, this is where you want to sort of be working. So if you drag out there, you can get a separate window. Go into render mode there. I'm going to go into solid mode here, and you can sort of work around what you're trying to sort of see, what sort of look you're trying to get. So maybe like that, and then could work on just moving this around and see how this changes things. Maybe move this up a bit, like that, and then maybe you know, something like that maybe, and bring that up. You know, just working with the lighting, that's just something you can do. It doesn't necessarily have to be realistic, but you know, you just want to create this moody sort of look with the light, or not necessarily moody, but you want to create something dramatic, or whatever look you're going for. That's what you want to sort of do. I think I sort of nailed it in this one here. You could spend a bit of time working on it in this one. That was just pretty quick. But yeah, you can work on a few different things. The lighting is the hard one that I would like to improve on. I think I've got a good lighting here, but you know, there's a few different things you could work on to make it better. And then what you want to do is to save. When this is done, image, this come up, you want to save it, and that's your image, and that's what you get here. So yeah, if you're happy with if you liked this tutorial, obviously this is just 4 parts. If you like this tutorial, obviously this is just one part of 4 parts. Give it a like, and yeah, I'll work on more tutorials in the future. There'll probably be one next week, and if not, the week after. So yeah, if you like this, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.